Hey guys, welcome back to another one. So today I want to talk about two forces that quietly alter almost everything in your life. They're gratitude and fear. So one expands your life and the other contracts it. It's like an analogy for the universe, you know. Gratitude changes what you notice, how you relate to people, and how your body carries all of the uncomfortable things that happen in your life, stress, anxiety, worries, and it regulates it. And fear does the opposite. So they're kind of like opposite energies there. Opposite when it becomes chronic, it narrows perception. We're talking about fear here. It damages connection and it traps people in cycles that feel protective in the moment, justified in the moment, almost empowering in the moment, because anger is a really strong force, isn't it? But it's very destructive over time. So in this video, in two parts, I'm going to talk about the top 3 ways that gratitude can change your life and the top 3 ways that fear can run it. Anyway, okay, so gratitude. The core idea here is that gratitude's not just being polite or positive, it's training your attention to a specific type of mindset, which is a specific type of frequency and energy, which if you've been watching the other videos as well, we know that energy attracts certain kinds of energies and frequencies and trains of thought. So positive emotions, they broaden attention and thinking, while negative emotions, they funnel them down into this narrow, fixated point of view, always looking out for immediate threats or, I guess it's always a threat response if we think of it that way. And that threat response, go into this a little bit more or maybe in other videos, is always a fear of loss. What is it? Well, it's the ultimate loss, a fear of loss of life. So gratitude helps people notice the resources, the support, the meaning, the synchronicities, the spiritual nature of life that is the heart of opportunities that fear would normally hide. So if you look at Japanese philosophies, they've got this thing called ichigo, ichie, and basically that's being grateful and present in the moment for the sake of it, because every moment is a once-in-a-lifetime experience. We just live moment to moment. So gratitude actually makes you feel it. And there's another saying, which is amor, fati, which is basically the love of fate. So whatever comes into your life, whatever might be happening, it's appreciating the good even if there's something bad, and learning to accept reality enough to work with it instead of just resisting it and complaining about it and hating it and fearing it and pushing it away and always expecting the worst, because what happens when we expect the worst? Well, we go into that autopilot mode. So the first thing gratitude changes is perception. It's what you notice. So fear makes your world smaller. It scans for threats, for what's missing, for what could go wrong. Gratitude does something totally different. It widens that lens. It helps you notice what's already here, what's working, who's showing up for you. It helps you tap into a language that is a deeper spiritual language and see synchronicities. If we start noticing patterns of what's good, then we start actually noticing more good in our life. And that's what the idea of these philosophies and why they matter so much, because every single thing that happens in your life is a once-in-a-lifetime encounter. You can never live it again. And so we should be grateful for it rather than seeing it as an ongoing loop and pattern that never changes into something better. You know, the moments will never happen in exactly the same way again. So why don't we try to see that kind of fate, even if we think that we're fated and destined for something bad? Why don't we try to shape that idea of badness into something maybe in a different wording, like difficult? And through difficulty, it helps us grow. It helps us appreciate the parts that we like. Anyway, that was the first point. Number 2, gratitude, it strengthens relationships. So research on intimate relationships shows that gratitude supports relationship maintenance. Sitting there living for somebody else can also help you strengthen your life in any relationship. So doing something for another and moving yourself into a more grateful, selfless way links your connection with appreciation for life, with maybe what core values and beliefs you have, or what core strengths in your values you can offer. This is linked with responsiveness, commitment, staying invested in relationships over time, generally attracting better outcomes in your life. And it applies beyond romance. It's friendship, family, connection, collaboration. You'll notice that most people who live in fear, especially the ones at an extreme end, they're surrounded by people who also live in fear and actually very isolated, you know. So the second thing gratitude changes in your relationships is these outcomes. People don't just need love. Love is a frequency. So that's seeing that frequency. Gratitude signals that. And research shows that in close relationships, appreciation helps maintain the bond. Which is, you know, I mean, it's so obvious. But what is that bond beyond your relationships? It's that bond to yourself in the moment. So gratitude isn't just some fluffy idea of love. It's relational glue. It's the glue that you connect yourself with your life. And if you're not enjoying your life, you can always change it. That's the empowering thing about gratitude. Once you start being grateful for all of the things, you'll notice different things. So anyway, point number 3, gratitude supports mental health and healthier body parts. I touched on this in other videos, but a more positive mindset with a more connected consistency to good energy ties you better to physiological well-being and psychological well-being. And so that obviously leads to a better quality of life, physical health benefits. Gratitude improves physiological well-being, and you know, I'm not going to go over the same points that I did in other videos. You should check them out, but it means better sleep, lower stress, better outcomes in your relationships, healthier blood pressure, patterns in your life that are easier rather than stressful, which means less tension is held in the body. You're able to function better, you're able to speak better, you're able to align with what you want in life more. And I just want to point it out that if you don't know what you want in life, maybe it's because you haven't worked on gratitude enough and you're constantly in a fight-flight response mode and you've got zero energy. Why? Because all of your energy is constantly going out subconsciously to scanning the environment for threats, for fear, for what might go wrong. So gratitude doesn't magically ease stress. It seems to change how the body carries it, responds to it, and this goes beyond the body. It changes the outcomes that happen in your life. If you view the world as one big body that holds us here in that deep connection, well, we can always find something that we're grateful for. Anyway, that's gratitude. Let's move into the other side, fear. You know, the top 3 ways fear affects your life. So, you know, fear can actually protect you. Like, that's why it's evolved. But chronic fear can lock you in to a little box, only scanning for signals that might hurt you. And it turns into a lifestyle, a really short, dumbed down, fearful lifestyle. So fear shrinks your life through avoidance. Fear makes people avoid everything, including themselves, and it keeps it alive. It's an energy that we keep feeding. Avoidance gives short-term relief, which reinforces it, but avoidance prevents new learning. So the brain can never fully update its threat prediction. This is when we go into modes of anxiety, and that anxiety needs comfort. Those comforting behaviors, which are closely linked to fearful behaviors, turn into addiction. Those addictions over time are closely linked to fear, and they shape our choices. Very narrow point of view when you're in that fully fearful, addicted mindset, right? You know, it changes who you approach, how you can approach them, what risks you take, what ambitions you postpone, what you think you need in order to operate, rather than just going for it, which might be scary, but you should just go for it anyway. So anyway, Fear and anxiety tend to reduce risk-taking and increase risk estimation. People think that, they're approaching fear by doing some crazy extreme stuff, but really they're just used to that chaos. Chronically, it costs opportunities because you're not having opportunities come in that are positively affecting your life. You're basically just chronically addicted to these responses of panic. Inaction is actually what happens. It makes your life smaller. This is what avoidance is. Point number 2, fear distorts and destroys relationships. When fear enters relationships, people become hypervigilant, insecure, controlling, withdrawn, constantly reassurance seeking. This can really take a toll on your partner. And we've all been there before. Like when I say these things, I'm saying it from personal experience as well. We all go through these things. It's just about talking about it rather than adding more anxiety and fear to this. It's understanding it and doing something about it. And realizing that we've all picked things up in one way or another from, our parents, our lovers, whatever, ourselves. It's okay. We're all in this kind of body together. I mean, you're in your body, I'm in my body, but we're in this, body of the world in the universe, and we're attached to it. So anyway, anxious attachment is tied to fear of rejection and higher reassurance seeking. So, all of this stuff that I've touched on in other videos, but basically it just makes other people around you feel unsafe as well. And it changes and ruins relationships, and it changes how you behave with others and how others behave with you. Point number 2. So, chronic anxiety becomes self-reinforcing and creates worse outcomes. So it's that same kind of thing that, like, when you have fear, you have, the opposite side of gratitude and things that are aligned with you coming in to support you. You have constant chaos and panic. You have this addiction to anxiety, and people talk about being addicted to anxiety. Well, like it's some cool thing, but it's not a formal clinical addiction. It becomes reinforced in this really narrow window of temporary control, which is just avoidance of the moment anyway. It's like, this avoidance model suggests that some people worry to avoid feeling suddenly blindsided by a bigger negative emotion. It's like, if I can control something that I'm used to, which is this worry, it's like a dull ache because I've thought about it so much, well, then the big thing that I'm really worried about might not happen. And it creates this loop. Worry feels useful. The mind keeps using it. We default back to it. So we have a lower quality of life. We pick up coping mechanisms. And, in the end, it costs us our health. It costs us everything. It costs us our potential in this amazing, infinite, vast universe of potentiality, which is really what we're here to do. We're here to discover our truer potential and not just turn things into a loop. I could talk about like this spiritual loop of life that we're in, but maybe not right now. So anyway, gratitude and fear, they're both really powerful, but they're on the same scale. They're on the same line of teaching you something. They move your life in opposite directions, though. It's like a spiraling staircase up towards your higher potential, or one going down to just a loop of something that's not expanding, basically. I was going to say hell, but, that just sounds like too rigid. So gratitude expands your perception. It deepens relationships. It helps you settle into a healthier state. Fear narrows your world. It was useful for protecting you, and it's there, but we can acknowledge it. Maybe the work is not to become so unrealistically positive and to pretend like we have no fearful things that don't exist and we're perfect. Maybe the inner work is to be more conscious of it, to talk about it, to step out into a more vulnerable state, to explore it, and to put a cap and a limit on these emotions in general, because what you rehearse, you become. And if you just rehearse small acts of gratitude every day, you become truly more rich and grateful in your life. If you rehearse acts of fear, well, you become more narrow and rigid. Anyway, I'll catch you on the next one.